don't want what we know out there.
How a person can go from really almost nothing to becoming a millionaire by owning rental properties.
He would always buy these flip houses, and I just remember thinking, this guy is crazy. Why would he buy that house?
In the past decade, there's been a huge surge in the peer-to-peer short-term rental market.
Become an insider. So you have to know the rules before you get the game.
Every second counts. So make every second count.
Welcome to the Real Estate Jam. Whether you're just beginning or the best of the best, we're glad you're here. We will share successes, failures, and strategies for the action-taking real estate investor. And now to your hosts, JD, Annabelle, and Melissa.
Hi guys, welcome to the Real Estate Jam podcast. I'm JD, and you'll notice today that I do not have my two wonderful co-hosts, Annabelle and Melissa. Due to some scheduling conflicts and some of this COVID-19 stuff, we weren't able to align our schedule with our guest schedule and make everything mesh up correctly. So today, instead of what we normally had planned, what I'd like to do is kind of talk to some of our newer investors, or really anybody who is having a problems focusing and getting traction moving forward in their real estate investment business. There's many different reasons why that might be taking place, but the one that I specifically want to hit today is the shiny object syndrome and chasing these different real estate niches and trying to learn as much as you can about a couple of different things, instead of what you should be doing is focusing your efforts in one direction and moving forward on that direction. And one of the key tools that we use in our company to do that, and I think is not taught very often to very many of these new investors who are seeking the knowledge, is establishing your investor identity. It's super important to know where you want to go in order to figure out the plan on how you want to get there. And your investor identity really does a good job, or establishing your investor identity, knowing who you are as an investor and what it is that you want to accomplish, really, really helps in allowing you to point your car in the direction that you need to go and start driving. The way that we do that, and I've written some blog posts about this in the past, but I thought it'd be good to address it with you guys today and share that knowledge. Is we use this 9-step or this 9-question kind of guide to answer some of these basic questions to help establish the investor identity. And I want to go over and talk about some of those today. Something important to note is that your investor identity is kind of fluid, and as you gain more experience and more knowledge and your tool bag gets bigger, you should be able to pivot and change with the time. So your investor identity is not this, once you've decided what it is, a fixed object. It is very fluid and will flow towards what it is that you need to do. But that is very different than chasing the next bright thing. And I want to be very clear about that. So what is these 9 questions? What are these 9 questions? Well, the first one is a pretty simple one to answer. And that question is, what type of asset class do you want to invest in? Because you're listening to this podcast, because we know each other through some sort of real estate investing thing, or because you saw us on some sort of social media, I can assume that the investment class in asset that you want to be investing in is real estate. And that's okay. And the reason it's important to identify this is there are other investment classes. There's stocks, there's bonds, there's small businesses, there's big businesses. There's all kinds of different investing that you could be doing. And if your investor identity is a real estate investor, right, then that is what you've chose. The second question is, do you prefer active or passive investing? And what I mean by that, it's also not a fixed, either you're an active investor or you're a passive investor. There can be a combination of both. It's kind of on a sliding scale. On the one end, the passive, the very, very passive would be the way that our private money partners invest in our business. So what we do is we meet people who have some money and want to invest in real estate or want to get some sort of return on their money. So what we do is we come up with either a partnership or a lending situation where they give us their funds and we put that money to work in a deal, and then we pay them a certain rate of return on the back end. What that does is allows us to do more deals on our own than more deals than we would be able to do on our own, because even somebody like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, or Jeff Bezos would eventually run out of money if they were using just their own money, and using that private money to acquire deals or rehab deals, and then paying the investor a passive return of a certain percentage is one of the ways that we operate our business. But that is a type of passive investing, right? Where they just write a check, sit back and wait, and then receive something on the end. That is one end of the spectrum. The complete opposite end of the spectrum would be, like wholesaling, where every single day you're going out, you're marketing, you're hitting the streets, you're talking to sellers, you're talking to buyers, you're working. And as soon as you stop working, the money or the revenue source stops coming in. You're either doing the work yourself or you're managing somebody that does the work. That's a very active form of real estate investing. Kind of an in-between is somebody who does your regular buy and hold or multifamily investing, where they would pick up a small multifamily property, put some of their money into it, do some work, and then turn it over to a property management company that would then deal with all the tenants, toilets, and termite type stuff, and they would collect a check. That's kind of in the middle. But whatever it is, when you're establishing your investor identity, it's super important to make sure that you identify what kind of or what level is it that you want to participate in. And there is no right or wrong answer, and it's all fine. But you really shouldn't, if you want to be a passive investor, you really shouldn't waste your time learning on how to wholesale, how to market, how to do social media marketing for a wholesaling business if you're comfortable with just doing a passive investment. So the next question that we like to ask when determining your investor identity, question 3 is, what type of real estate investing are you considering, or what is your real estate investing strategy? For example, we have wholesaling, wholetailing, fix and flip, buy and hold, buy and rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, the BRRRR strategy. There's all of these different types of real estate investing, and you got to decide what kind that is. And it's okay if you're doing more than one. If you're a buy and hold investor who also wants to flip 1 to 2 houses a year, that's fine too. But specifically knowing what it is that you want is what the important piece of this message is. Question number 4 is, what market do you want to invest in? And this is super important, and this is also something that I see new investors getting in a lot of not trouble. They're not getting in trouble, but it is wasting a lot of time, right? When you're a brand new investor and you don't have a specific market that you're working in, you're trying to be a virtual wholesaler, because a lot of the courses and stuff that is out there talks about you can do this job from the comfort of your home in your underwear. You can work 4 to 5 hours a week and make, $100,000 a month, which that might be true for some people. That's not the way that it works for us. We have to work very hard and put a lot of long hours to do that. But the fallacy that's out there is that you can literally do it in any location from the entire United States or even overseas. And because of that, which that is true, but you can't just blanket and do it. What you need to do is specify one market, become an expert in that market, move to the next market, become an expert in that market, move to the next market, become an expert in that market. So before you start doing that, new investors will start to analyze deals, one from Chicago, one from Detroit, one from Miami, all these different places all over the country, and they never actually focus on one specific area to develop relationships and teams in that specific area before they move on to the next. Especially so for an older investor or a more experienced investor, excuse me, that'll work. That's been done. It can be done. But for you new guys who are struggling to do your very first deal, you probably should be looking and focusing on one market, and you need to pick what that market is. And there's 100 different ways to pick the market, but some of the key indicators that you need to look for is population growth, jobs, sustainability. One of the things that I fall victim to a lot because of the investment strategy that we use is when you only have one or two main employers in the metro area that you're investing in, that can be a problem if one of those employers decides that they're not going to be employing anymore. So there's some other things that you need to look at from that, but you can decide. And one of the easiest ways to decide is a lot of people are just investing where they live, and that's okay too, especially starting out. If you want to invest in your home city or where you can see the real estate, it might not be the best place money-wise or numbers-wise, but if you're comfortable with it and it gets you started to take action, then by all means use the place where you live to invest in. So I guess the next question is, we know where now we know where we're going to invest in. Now we need to look at question 5 is, what type of real estate do we want to invest in? When I'm talking about that, I mean, do you want to invest in commercial real estate? Do you want to invest in residential real estate? Do you want to do large multifamily, small multifamily? Are you only doing single family homes? Are you investing in warehouses? Are you investing in storage centers? There's a ton of different types of real estate. But what happens, the shiny object syndrome, this is where it comes into effect a lot, is, 1 week at a Rehab meeting, we're talking to a multifamily investing expert, and they give their pitch, and then everybody in the room wants to become a multifamily investor. And the following week, we talk to somebody who invests in mobile home parks, and now half the room wants to do mobile home parks. And last week they were multifamily investors, and the next week they're doing single family homes, and the week after that they're doing storage centers. They keep changing what it is that they're trying to do, and they never get any traction moving forward in the direction that they want to go. The way to prevent that from happening is establishing your investor identity. And I'm talking about, write these things down. And when you say that you're looking at investing in small multifamilies, then I'm not saying throw away a good deal that comes across your desk, but you don't even need to let those deals come across your desk. If you're only investing in small multifamily, then if your friend brings you a single family home and says, hey, I think this might be a deal, you just pass that on to your other friends or your other investors, or pass on it because it doesn't fit your criteria. And what that does is prevent you from wasting a lot of time and analyzing deals that really you shouldn't be doing because it doesn't fit what you're trying to do. So question number 6 is, what does your ideal property look like? And so regardless of what type, commercial or residential, you're going to need to know specifically what it is that your property looks like. What properties are you going to market to? Are you looking for 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot in a A-class neighborhood, maybe, or a B-class neighborhood, C-class neighborhood? Are you looking for primarily rentals? Are you looking for fix and flips? What is it, and what does that property actually look like? Are you going to invest in properties that have pools? I know some people who won't touch a pool because it costs a lot of money to fix them, and you don't get that much money in value-wise back out. But if you don't fix it, you're definitely gonna be hurt. So some people don't touch pools. Some people won't touch properties with foundation issues, and if that's what your criteria is, that's okay, but you need to establish that. And that way, when you're looking at 3-bedroom, 2 baths, and a 2-bedroom comes across your desk, you push that off to the side and you don't waste your time with that 2-bedroom. You focus on 3-bedroom, 2 baths to get the deals done. So kind of in line with what does your ideal property look like, you also need to know, like, what does it rent for in that area. You know, are you looking for properties that are renting for $300 a month rent, or are you looking for properties that are renting for $4,000 a month? You need to know what that is. And that kind of falls in line with the class of property, but that's going to eliminate a lot of the junk that comes across your desk. If you only invest in Section 8 type properties, well, then that Class A apartment complex across the way that just went up on the beach for a couple $1 million and is super expensive, probably not the one that you're going to look at. So you don't even need to waste your time doing it. Question 7 that we like to ask is, like, what is the after repair value target range? What should these properties be going for? Should you realistically, is your budget going to be in the, 50 to 100,000? Is it going to be 100 to 150, 150 to 300? What is that after repair value range? One of the ways that I look at it is I find what the median sales price in the area is, and I try to stick to right around that. I don't want the top high end, and I don't want the very, very bottom. I want that middle ARVs, because I think those are the ones that are most affordable. So I'm looking like first and second homes for the properties that we want, and those are usually between $150,000 and $250,000. Will go up as high as $400,000, depending on proximity to the beach and that kind of stuff. But you need to understand what it is, what that ARV number looks like for you in your real estate investment business. And it depends too. It's going to be way different in San Diego than it is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So just keep that in mind. Question number 8 is, how much rehab are you willing to do? So we know plenty of investors who just like to do the wholetailing strategy, where they pick up a property that's pretty decent shape from a homeowner at a discount because they needed to sell fast, and then they list it right on the MLS, and they do literally zero rehab, right? But I know other people who they won't touch anything that doesn't need a complete gut rehab, that they can stand to make the most amount of money, and they have to do a lot of work for it. You need to decide what that looks like for you. Are you comfortable running a rehab that's going to require a new roof, new electrical, new plumbing, or are you going to struggle with those kind of repairs? And if you are, then you probably need to stay away from those type of properties that are in distress like that. But if you're okay with that, then by all means put that down as your answer. And then, so question 9, this is a really, really important one. This even goes to your business strategy. How will you fund your deals? And there's nothing wrong with however you decide to fund them, whether that's bank financing, owner financing, any of the creative financing strategies, private money, personal money, hard money. All of these things are great tools and can be utilized effectively. But the type of deal you're looking for changes if it has to qualify for bank financing. It changes if you're going to do a hard money loan that is written based off of the equity in the property as opposed to your credit score. There's a lot of different things. Maybe you had a foreclosure in the past and your credit score is in the trash. So bank financing might not be available for you. So when you're looking at properties that require some sort of bank financing, they don't fit your criteria. So you don't really want to target those specifically. There's a whole bunch of different ways to fund your deals, but you need to decide what are acceptable options and what are not acceptable options before you start marketing to these properties. If you have a rich Aunt Bethel who has, $20 million and she loves you and you're her favorite and she'll give you as much money as you need as long as you pay her back, well, then you might not have a price range that you need to worry about, or you might not have to worry about how much rehab needs to go into a property, right? And those are things that are important to know and put in writing so that you have a good idea, and so that you can teach your team to have a good idea about it, and so you stay focused. Again, that's the 9 questions that I use to help establish what your investor identity is. If you go along and you figure out each of those, the bonus to this all is that it'll give you kind of what your elevator pitch is. So it might be something like, I'm a real estate investor that actively invests in wholesaling multifamily properties in the Panama City market, and we're purchasing properties at this. You can just build your entire elevator pitch based off of this investor identity questions. And it's something else that I should say is that these aren't all encompassing questions. There's other things that you need to think about, but this can get the conversation started between you and your business partners, or you and your wife, or really it can just start you in the right direction. Now, how do we use this to go out and do the real estate investing thing? Well, once you have your investor identity established, it acts as a big screen or a filter for all the deals. Ideally, you want to find deals that are matching your criteria and are good and profitable deals for you, and you can solve somebody's problem. But there are hundreds of thousands of houses in your area, or even just thousands, and some people might only have hundreds, but it takes you a long time to analyze a deal. And so if you can eliminate some of these deals that are not going to be deals right off the start, before you spend the time, effort, energy, and brain power to go in, look up the comps, analyze the neighborhood, do rehab repair estimates. If you can eliminate these properties that aren't going to fit your criteria, that aren't going to be in your criteria, from the start, that's going to save you a lot of time in the long run. It's also going to prevent you from looking into the shiny objects. What's the next best thing? So the best advice that I can give is to operate it like a filter, getting rid of the majority of the deals so that you're only left with properties that fit a specific criteria. And at that point, you can go in and evaluate the deal. I'm going to go ahead and do another podcast in the near future about how I analyze deals and how Shorefront runs the numbers and stuff, so that you can kind of see what it is that we're doing. But if you got any value from this, please leave a comment, like it, share it with your friends, let us know. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We can be found all over social media. And, I just hope that this helps you guys get moving in the right direction. Again, if there's any questions, let me know. And I really appreciate you being here. Have a good one.
Thank you for listening to the Real Estate Jam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all you do.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and updates, check out our website, shorefrontrestorations.com, or find us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Shorefront Restorations. If you have any questions, feel free to drop us an email at info@shorefrontrestorations.com. See you next episode.